You're watching KSTW TV 11. Now, from the Northwest and the world, the first news of the night. From Channel 11, this is the 10 o'clock news.
It's a vicious circle. The recession makes us cautious with our cash. That, in turn, takes a big bite out of the state budget. And tonight, that is leading some politicians to publicly utter the dreaded T word.
Taxes, a general tax increase they say is needed to get the state out of the red. The story from Steve Williams.
People are afraid of the recession and are not buying, so sales tax collections have plunged. Boeing, the state's largest employer, has started announcing layoffs, so job growth has vanished. Those and other factors will take a huge $900 million deficit bite out of the $15 billion state budget. $700 million less in tax revenue over the next year and a half. $200 million more needed because more people are on welfare and in prison.
About a quarter. If we go at 2.5%.
Governor Gardner says the deficit may be too big to cover entirely with program cuts, hiring freezes, and delayed salary increases. So a tax increase may be necessary from an election year legislature dominated by candidates for governor.
Well, the consequences of not doing some tax increase may be so severe that they elect that as an option that is more preferable than facing the tremendous decrease in services that might be available otherwise.
The governor's staff says any increase in the sales tax or the business and occupation tax would not be large.
What we are clearly saying is that it is on the table as a part of the solution. It is not the bulk of the solution. It is not the major part of the solution.
Talking about a tax increase will be a lot easier than passing one.
Well, if I were to make a judgment today, I don't think you'll find the votes for a general tax increase.
Governor Gardner will announce his tax increase proposal a month from now. In 1981, when the state was in a worse recession, lawmakers bit the bullet and voted yes to put the sales tax on groceries and medicine. That proved to be highly unpopular. So this time around, Governor Gardner said it would be impractical to try to reimpose the tax on food and drugs. In Olympia, Steve Williams for Channel 11 News.
As the old saying goes, there is nothing more certain than death and taxes. Well, tonight we might update that to, quote, I'd prefer death to paying any more taxes. At least that's the essence of the reaction we got when we floated the tax increase idea to a few taxpayers.
Well, why pay more if you're going to get less or if things aren't going to improve, basically?
I'm retired. I'm not affected as much as some young people who are out scratching for a living. But I do not believe that we should increase any taxes.
I think that people of our state really have to, they've said they want all these services every year in the legislature, and the legislature passes laws, and they don't even pass money to fund some of these services. So at least the ones that we have should be maintained at this level.
No, not really.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think taxes are high enough as it is.
Granted, that's an unscientific random sample, but one that was certainly emphatic.
Emphatic indeed. Teachers are saying tonight, if you must cut, leave our pay raises alone. They are set to receive 4.7% raises next year and 3.5% the following year. A spokesman for the Washington Education Association says any cut in pay would have a disastrous effect on teacher morale. Teresa Moore says it would force some teachers to look for jobs elsewhere and discourage new recruits.
More on the economy. Wall Street kept its cool today. There was no panic, and therefore, this was not a Black Monday after all. The market was a little confused, maybe a little nervous after Friday's 120-point drop in the Dow Jones. But at the close of trading today, the Dow Jones Industrials were up 29.5 points, closing at 29.72. Pretty much business as usual, the way one analyst put it today. The Senate's fast passage of a bill last week to cap credit card interest rates got a lot of the blame for Friday's big market drop. Well, today, Congress mostly dropped the cap idea.
I think the unexpected consequences of the president's statement and the very quick action in the Senate indicates that the House should be extremely careful before it moves very quickly toward any legislation that would put an absolute cap on credit card rates.
Speaker Foley said the way to get credit card interest rates down is to foster competition, not force the rates down by law.
Are you still in the dark tonight? Well, for most of us, the lights are back on, but this weekend's windstorm left many of us groping for candles or flashlights, and the repair work is still not over. Set Saturday night's big blowout had a lot of people rolling in reverse today. Winds had gusted to nearly 80 miles an hour, breaking branches, snapping light poles, and making for a lot of work hours for both man and machines. Crews have spent the last 48 hours trying to get all the lights back on. A total of 400,000 utility customers in western Washington were hit with power outages. At the height of the storm, Seattle City Light had 60,000 customers without power. Tonight, they are reporting only spot outages, with about 300 scattered homes still in the dark. Meanwhile, Puget Power still has a total of 4,000 homes out tonight. And Tacoma Public Utilities is reporting only a few scattered areas without power. All of the utilities say they still have crews out working on downed transformers. Other repair crews will work on clearing trees and brush for the rest of the week. Many of the utilities say the storm took down a number of large transformers, and those take time to repair. Well, if your power goes out, there are some very important tips you should remember. Wear warm clothing and dress in layers. Stay in one room with few windows and keep the doors closed. Use a fireplace or approved wood stove. Don't use a charcoal barbecue inside. Have plenty of food on hand that doesn't need to be heated or refrigerated. And have a supply of flashlights, batteries, candles with wide base